YouTube. Okay, so yeah, you might have read the title to this video and been like, wait, but you already posted a video on this. Well, I did, but something went a little wrong. It had no volume at all. None that I can even edit on my computer or in the YouTube editor. And yeah, it's really weird. I don't know how that happened. That computer was usually fine with sound, and it's not like anything happened to the speakers or anything, unlike the computer that I'm using right now, but yeah, something just went wrong with it. I don't know what, I don't know why, but it did nonetheless. So, yeah, now I'm back to using my old computer. Yay, the one that's incredibly slow and annoys me. I hope that the other computer just sort of fixes itself at some point. So yeah, this is a take 2 of this video. So yeah, I'm kind of sorry that that happened. I really didn't mean for it to, and actually I did like how that vlog came out. So yeah, I'm pretty annoyed about what happened, but yeah, it did. There's no preventing it now. So yeah, just had to do this again. As for the 10th episode, now that has already come out, and I have made sure that I haven't seen it yet. Why? Because I want to talk about these 2 episodes again without knowing what happens next. That's how I talked about it originally, and that's how I want to talk about it again. Also, I'm going to make the 10th episode a different video, not only because I want to use a different thumbnail for it, but also because it's going to be the end of Samurai Jack. I want to make that video pretty special and something on its own. So yeah, I'm gonna save that one. So yeah, that'll probably be the next video I upload. I don't know if I'm gonna make it today or tomorrow or something, but yeah, I'm gonna make it soon. And yeah, hope that that one's gonna be a good episode at least. So let's start off with episode 8 again. Wish I didn't have to do this again. But yeah, okay, so what happens in episode 8? Well, we get a Billy West cameo, which is awesome. Yeah, Billy West is the voice of Fry, the doctor guy, and the professor from Futurama. I forgot the doctor, the pink claw guy's name. I forgot his name for some reason, but yeah, he voiced him, and now he voices some walrus guy selling out a bunch of random food that turns your head into a fish. Yep, makes perfect sense. So yeah, Jack and Ashi are just sort of venturing around this little store, and Jack eats that food and his head becomes a fish for a little bit, and then they get onto a giant camel. This show makes complete sense. So yeah, when they get in there, things are getting a little bit awkward as they have feelings for each other but aren't really expressing it. So yay, I really don't care about these story arcs, but yeah, at least they'll do something original with it. I know that because it's Samurai Jack and because I've already seen this episode. So yeah, then they fight some giant cat people who have killed Samurai Jack on their shirts, and then they have to stand in a certain order for that to be spelled out in a way that Jack can't even see it because he's in the middle of it. Why they went through such preparation to just spell out something that Jack can't even see, I don't know, but anyway, they decide to attack, and Jack and Ashi fend them off, and then they just sort of get out of the camel because things are still awkward in there. So now they're walking around the desert alone and just sort of doing stuff. But eventually a sandstorm does come. Oh, and also one thing I forgot to mention, Jack makes a new hat. Yeah, remember his little hats that he used to always have and would make? He made a new one. Yes, finally. Oh, and also he makes one for Ashi. That's nice. So, yeah, then they lose them in the sandstorm, and Then they find a giant monolith from 2001 Space Odyssey and decide, yeah, this is a pretty safe thing. I mean, we saw what happened to it in 2001, and we might as well go in. So, and they go into this super ominous monolith because that's a very good idea. And then while they're in there, they notice that the place is pretty ominous. Probably was a prison at one time, and yeah, there's no one in it, or at least no one who's alive. Everything in there is just destroyed. So they're gonna leave immediately, right? No, clearly no. That's the awful idea. I mean, they're just extremely well-trained warriors. They cannot survive sand outside. So truly, they need to be inside this death trap. So they keep on snooping around, and eventually they find out what actually got rid of everyone on the ship. A giant bug monster. Dun dun dun. Yeah, wait, what? Giant bug monster. Yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't know. I thought that'd be something creepier. Like, they were kind of having an alien sort of feel to this. So, I don't know. Like, maybe something resembling a xenomorph or something. But, no. Giant bug monster. Yeah. So anyway, Jack and Ashi eventually, after fighting it off for a little bit, decide that, yeah, it's probably best to just go away and try and find something else that could help them. And eventually they find the arsenal, and God, is that awesome. So yeah, they get into the arsenal, and Jack finds a device that's specifically made to stopping this creature. Why none of the actual people in charge of this prison decided to go and get that when this thing broke out? As I'm pretty sure not all of them were just standing around guarding that one monster. I mean, there were a lot of other cells in this place. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they were guarding some other things at some time. And that leaving the prisoners who are perfectly confined in their cells alone for a few minutes to get something that could save your whole entire ship might have been a smart idea, but no, clearly they were all just guarding this one guy and couldn't get away. So, yeah, Jack decides to watch the instruction manual, and she distracts him for a minute, and that was the most important part. Thanks, Ashi. Although she found a gun, so yeah, I guess I can forgive her for that. She's using a gun. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, Jack only finds out the end of how to use it, and then it just gives it to him. Never asking, hey, do you need something replayed because maybe you missed something? No, clearly that's not actually important, even though this thing is extremely important. And yeah, if lives depend on it, you might want to play it a few more times or have it on a loop for just in case someone missed the instructions. But no, clearly, no one's gonna miss it on that very first run. So, obviously, yeah, you just need only one time of playing that. So, yeah, he has a device to kill this monster, but doesn't know how to use it exactly. But, yeah, they're gonna go out and fight the monster anyway. And Ashi now has an awesome double-bladed sword and shield because she's awesome. So they start fighting for a little bit, and then an awful thing happens. Ashi's leaf dress is destroyed. Dun dun dun. Yeah, so now she's naked. Yeah. And she apparently does not find that weird at all. I don't know why. I mean, she knew that she needed clothes, but apparently around Jack it doesn't matter. I don't get that, but yeah, Jack feels pretty awkward and gives her his gi, and they continue to fight. And yeah, they still don't really know how to work this machine to defeat it, but eventually they do find out the creature is defeated, and they made it out. And then they start making out. Do everybody love somebody sometime? Yeah. And I gotta say, I like the end credits of this. This so far is the only episode that I can actually remember where they don't have the main theme for Samurai Jack playing over the end credits, so that was pretty cool. Instead, they got some pretty old song that I had never actually heard before, so I'm actually kind of glad that Samurai Jack introduced me to this song because it's pretty good. So, yeah, that's that. Was this episode any good? It was alright. This is probably the only episode out of this whole season that I can just say is okay because while it does make itself more like the original Samurai Jack formula, with Jack going to a new place and having to encounter a monster that he has to find a way of defeating, it's still just the old formula, except with Ashi thrown in. Now, yes, there is some good development between the two, and I do actually find it kind of interesting that two people who've actually never fallen in love before have now fallen in love with each other, although I do think it's kind of rushed. I mean, how long have they known each other? For like a week? This is kind of quick, guys. Although, then again, they haven't fallen in love before, so yeah, I guess I can understand them rushing into things. But yeah, it is still kind of quick to me, but that's probably my biggest complaint with this. Because actually, I do like the two together. They are very likable characters, so I don't mind seeing them together. It's just, it feels a little bit rushed to me. And also, this episode, the monster kind of let me down. Like I said, I thought it was going to be a whole lot creepier than it actually was. It was just a bunch of bugs piled together to be a monster. And yeah, that didn't really make for the most exciting creature, but I do still like how it looked and everything. It's just that, yeah, bug creature. That's something that I expect out of Men in Black, not out of Samurai Jack. But yeah, it is still pretty cool looking, and the art for this episode was really good. Also, the tension in this episode building up to the creature was really good. I was seriously in a lot of suspense about wondering what this creature actually looked like, and while yeah, it did kind of let me down, I still do love the tension that they built up for it. And also, they made a few more adult jokes in this episode, so yeah, I really appreciated that. One with the sword, though, that was hilarious. So yeah, this episode does stick more to the older Samurai Jack formula and isn't as mature as some of the other episodes this season have been. And yeah, I actually do appreciate that. It's kind of nice to just take a break from all the mature stuff going on and instead just go back into the old formula. So I did really enjoy that. Also, it was cool to get a cameo from Billy West. That was pretty awesome. And, well, yeah, it did let me down in some areas, and some things I think were a little bit rushed. I do still understand the motive behind it, and there were some pretty cool things to come out of this. So, yeah, for this episode overall, well, I don't think that this is an absolute watch. I do think that is still a very solid episode, and one that, yeah, maybe give it a watch if you're interested. So after this one we have episode 9, the last episode to the finale, which, no, I have not seen yet. I'm going in on this all unspoiled. So episode 9. A lot happens here. Like a whole lot. So, yeah, the episode starts off right where the last one left off, with Jack and Ashi making out. Is it kind of bad that my mind just sort of took me to imagining them just waking up in one of those cells? I think it is, but I mean, the show's on Adult Swim now, and it's been a whole lot more mature. I don't know, I was just sort of expecting something like that to happen, but yeah, I guess this is also pretty nice. So yeah, they are continuing to kiss, and then, yeah, they realize that they still have some of the stuff from those bugs on them, so yeah, this has been kind of an awkward first kiss, but yeah, I'm sure it'll get better later. So Ashi decides that she needs to go get some new clothes because she's still wearing Jack's gi, and Jack decides to go take a shower. And then Ashi finds herself a dress and does not grab any weapons at all. Seriously, there's a whole entire arsenal in there. You are a very skilled warrior. You can't just keep on picking up things all the time. Sometimes you're gonna need a weapon on hand. Get a freaking weapon. There are so many awesome ones to choose from this arsenal. Just grab one. But no, clearly she can't do that. No, instead she just needed to get herself a little dress and stuff. So then we see that Jack is taking a shower, and we really need to see Jack taking a shower. Really, why do we need to see Jack taking a shower? But yeah, then he gets back in his gi, he gets his sword back in his scabbard, and it is awesome. And then he looks at himself in the mirror and just sees his older version of himself, like the one where he's more grizzled and has a big beard. Why he sees this in the mirror, I don't know. And then it randomly tells him to be careful, and he agrees with it. So, yeah, Jack has not been cured of his slight insanity and hallucinations, apparently. Now they're just sort of being nicer to him. Yay? So, yeah. That's pretty bad for him. So, yeah, he saw himself in the mirror. And then he just goes back and meets up with Ashi, and they talk a little bit while eating something that tastes bad, and then Jack actually goes into a little bit of detail about his village, and this is actually a really nice scene. I mean, we've seen flashbacks of him in his village before, both good and bad, but we've never actually heard him talk about with his own feelings, or at least not that I can remember, so this is actually really nice. We just sort of get to see his actual feelings about the village, and why he actually cared so much about it. It's outside of just the fact that he grew up in it. It's a really nice scene, and I really liked watching it. It was really sad, and it does make you understand why Jack has kept on fighting to try and get back to his own time for so long. And so after that, Jack and Ashi go to sleep, and then in the morning, Jack is gone. Why? Because he really needed to venture off to a completely random area, which he recognizes slightly. And then we find out that one professor guy from episodes a long time ago, I forget which, that one professor guy who gave Jack that metal arm, he apparently died. Or at least that's what they imply. Either that or he dropped his glasses in the sand and Jack just sort of takes that for him being dead. But yeah. So that's sad. Rip that one scientist whose name I forgot. And so then we cut back to Scaramouche. Yes, he's still doing stuff, and apparently now he's placed his head on top of an octopus. And for some odd reason, the octopus is obeying him. I don't get why, but it is. And he finally makes it to Aku's tower, and Aku just tells him to leave, or at least a cardboard cutout of him does, because he's not accepting visitors for some reason. But Scaramouche decides, you know what, I went all this way, I'm gonna talk to him. So he just sort of climbs in and tells Aku that Jack has lost his sword. They dance for a little bit because we need to see the awesomeness of Aku dancing. And that's pretty much it for a little bit. Just Scaramouche got his body back and they danced. And so now cut back to Ashi and Jack, as now Ashi is caught up with him, and Jack tells her why he left. It's because everyone that he's ever known or been friends with or cared about has died, and he just sort of has the memories of them to reflect on. And he didn't want her to become another memory in there. I actually really did like this scene, and it does explain a lot about him. And I did really like that, yeah, he's never fallen in love with someone before, so especially not someone from outside of his own time. So yeah, this is actually something that could end either way. Either he would decide to stay here, or he could actually find another portal back and, I don't know, maybe take her with him, but that would put her at kind of a weird, out-of-place situation, as, yeah, she's never been to that time. She grew up in modern day, or at least in the future. So, yeah, it's actually kind of interesting. But then Ashi says, nah, Destiny decided this, so let's just hang out and we'll defeat Aku eventually. And then Aku comes in, right on cue. And he sort of just gloats about Jack having lost his sword, and then Jack shows off, hey, I still have my sword. And then Aku just kills Scaramouche, I'm so glad that we had a subplot with him. And then he gets pretty. Then he's just like, well, I'm just gonna leave then. Bye. This was pointless. But then he smells some of him. He smells Ashi. So, yeah, now we finally get to see how this actually happened. If you've been watching my vlogs on this show for a little bit, you know I've been kind of confused about how exactly Ashi and all the Dars of Aku were actually made. But this episode actually does confirm it. Apparently, the Dars of Aku were just a cult that worshipped Aku, and Aku decided to drop by one day, and yeah, he just sort of poured some of his essence into a cup because, I don't know, and then he just sort of left. Why did he do that? Although, when I first saw him actually talking about this, I was like, oh god, this show's gonna get real mature now, isn't it? I mean, like, what? How did he actually have oh, wait. Oh, he just dropped some water. Sort of dropped some of his essence into a cup. Okay, never mind. Not as mature as I thought it was gonna be. So, yeah, I don't know why my mind took me to that again. Should probably question that a little bit further, but nah. So, yeah. Apparently, one of the Dars of Q drank it because why not? And that made her pregnant somehow. Look at that. I just drank some water. I'm pregnant with the water's children now. Don't get how that works. That's not even how it actually worked before. Because if you remember the episode The Aku Affection, Jack actually did. Well, okay, he sort of accidentally swallowed a little bit of Aku's essence. And that pretty much just possessed him. And yeah, that's not how this is working here. Does it work different on different genders, or does it work different if you take more of it? I'm still confused about this. And then she just had kids. And they still don't really place what time this actually happened at. So yeah, she might have just grown up in a few days still. It's completely up to speculation. And then Aku just decides to use Ashi, as apparently since she's part him, he can control her. I don't know how that works, but yeah, somehow does, and I shouldn't question it. So, and then he makes Jack and Ashi fight for a little bit. Ashi just keeps on telling him to just sort of kill her because, yeah, you know, I mean, that'd be easier and wouldn't result in any mental scarring at all. And Jack just keeps on telling her to fight it. You do realize that that's her own body, right, Jack? She can't really fight it. What do you even mean by that? Like, when you got possessed by some part of Aku, that was different. You actually had some help in getting rid of it, and you weren't born like that. Ashi has that mixed into her blood, and every part of her, that's just built into her. Is she supposed to fight her own genetics? What do you want her to fight? Like, how can she fight that? It's her own genetics. What do you want her to do, Jack? Like, what, did you want her to somehow gain control of herself? Well, yeah, that'd be kind of hard, as Aku is slightly an extremely powerful being. And she is an ex-occult member. What'd you think? What'd you want her to fight there? I want you to fight yourself. Wait, what? Like, what did he want her to do? Oh, yeah, Jack, I'll just sort of start fighting my own body. I know that Aku is the one with all the control over it, and I still have my mind. But, yeah, guess what? She doesn't have enough will to be able to get control of her body again. So, yeah, Jack, again, what are you talking about? But, yeah, eventually Aku decides that It looks like they might lose this fight, so he decides, might as well make it a guarantee, and the Venom symbiote, a coup, decides to just fully takes over Ashi. And it looks pretty awesome, and for some odd reason it takes over the sword as well. Why? Like we see later on in this episode that the way that Jack's sword works, is, at least to Ashi here, is that, yeah, it cuts fully through. Not just like it cuts and then you can see some of the blood that actually on her skin or something. No, it cuts all the way through, just like how Aku is cut when he's cut by the sword. So, yeah, you want to know how this fight should end? Ashi's sword, Jack's sword, broken. That's just how it should end there. Really, really quick. How does it not do that? I think it does it later. I vaguely remember it doing that later, but yeah, it's still kind of weird that it took a few hits to do that. But anyway, eventually, after Ashi and Jack keep on fighting for a little bit, eventually Jack does cut her on the shoulder, and then she does break through a little bit and just tells Jack to kill her. And Jack keeps on refusing, and eventually he just surrenders. So now Ashi, now being controlled by Aku, and Aku both have his sword, and Jack is now completely surrendered to them. And the episode ends. Oh, okay. A lot happens in this episode, so I really liked this episode. This is probably the one that got me the most suspenseful and the most intrigued in seeing what happens next. The sort of Dars of Aku arc also did get me invested in it, but this one I'm even more invested in because this is what the show has been building up to its entire runtime. Jack versus Aku. But now we also have Ashi thrown in there, being controlled by Aku. That makes it even more interesting. And also even more tragic. I really did like Ashi in this show, so it is really sad to see her being controlled like this. And it is actually really interesting to see Jack just ultimately refusing to kill her and just surrendering, giving up on his entire life's purpose here just to protect her. This really made for a very interesting cliffhanger here, and I really enjoyed it. But as for the rest of the episode, it's good as well. We do get to see more of Jack's feelings on his village and how falling in love with someone who's not from his own time actually affects him, which is really interesting. It's something that, yeah, I was kind of wondering about after the last episode. And so, yeah, I really do like where this show was going. And I honestly cannot wait to see what happens next. Also, the animation here, oh my god, is it amazing. Especially at the ending fight when Ashi is completely consumed by Aku. I really loved the animation on her during this fight sequence. It is stunning. Just look at it for a little bit. You can see how her body actually moves in different ways. Like sometimes her legs would grow and sometimes her arms would grow. It is such an interesting way to use different proportions in this fight. And I just loved it. It just looked amazing. So yeah, for this ending climax as well, that's where the animation really shined to me. Although that doesn't mean that the rest of the animation throughout these two episodes and the entire season and show hasn't been good. It's just that this one fight really stood out to me, and I really loved it. And Samurai Jack's had a few fights on the show like that, like the haunted house episode, and Jack versus the Ninja. Anyone remember that with the black and white? Yeah, that was awesome. But this one really does stand out to me as well. Actually, I think that just sort of goes together with those two as, yeah, it was really great, and I love how they use proportions on it. Also, this ending fight had a lot more emotional stakes to it, and that's really what made it more interesting to me. So for episode 9, it is great. I highly recommend checking it out if you haven't already because it was amazing. This was a really great episode and one that really leaves me wanting to watch the next one. So, yeah. Guess it's now just come to this. There's only one episode left. There's so many unanswered questions. Will Jack get back to his own time? What will happen with him and Ashi? What will happen to Ashi? What will happen to Aku? What will happen to Jack? He could die here. What will happen with the Scotsman story arc that seemed to have been slightly dropped here? Will it come back in the end? We'll just have to watch the next episode and find out. So yeah. Until then, bye.